Napoleon Bonaparte, French emperor, was one in all the best military leaders in history. He helped remake the map of Europe and established many government and legal reforms, but constant battles eventually led to his downfall. Early years. Napoleon Bonaparte was born Napoleon Bonaparte on August 15, 1769, within the Corsican city of Ajaccio. He was the fourth of 11 children of Carlo Bonaparte and Letizia Romolino. His father, a member of a noble Italian family, remained on good terms with the French after they took over control of Corsica. Napoleon began his education at a boys' school in Ajaccio. Then, at age 10, he was allowed to enter French military schools for aristocrats and was sent in 1779, together with his older brother Joseph, to the school of Autun in Burgundy, France. Napoleon later transferred to the school of Brienne, another French military school. While at college in France, he was made fun of by the opposite students for his lower social standing and since he spoke Spanish and failed to know French well. His small size earned him the nickname of the Little Corporal. Despite this teasing, Napoleon received a wonderful education. When his father died, Napoleon led his household. By 1785 Napoleon was a lieutenant within the French army, but he often returned to Corsica. In 1792 he took part in an exceedingly power struggle between forces supporting Pascal Paoli, 1725–1807, a pace-setter within the fight for Corsican independence, and people supporting the French. After Paoli was victorious, he turned against Napoleon and therefore the Bonaparte family, forcing them to escape back to France. Napoleon then turned his attention to a career within the army there. The French Revolution, 1789–93, a movement to overthrow King of France, 1754–1793, and establish a republic, had begun. Upon his return from Corsica in 1793, Napoleon made a reputation for himself and won a promotion by helping to defeat British at Toulon and regain that territory for France. Military successes. After being imprisoned for 10 days on suspicion of treason and refusing assignment to guide the military of the West, Napoleon was assigned to figure for the map department of the French War Office. His military career nearly ended, but when forces loyal to the king attempted to regain power in Paris in 1795, Napoleon was called in to prevent the Napoleon Bonaparte uprising. As a bequest he was appointed commander of the military of the inside. Later that year Napoleon met Josephine de Beauharnais, 1763–1814, and that they were married in March 1796. Within some days Napoleon left Josephine in Paris and began his new command of the military of Italy. Soon the French troops were winning battle after battle against the Italians and Austrians. Napoleon advanced on Vienna, Austria, and engineered the signing of a treaty that gave France control of Italy. Napoleon returned to Paris a hero, and he soon decided to invade Egypt. He sailed from Toulon, France, in May 1798 with a military of 35,000 men. With only some losses, all of Lower Egypt came under Napoleon's control. He set about reorganizing the government, the post, and therefore the system for collecting taxes. He also helped build new hospitals for the poor. However, at this point a gaggle of nations had banded together to oppose France. Austrian and Russian forces had regained control of just about all of Italy. Then, in August 1798, British destroyed French ships within the Battle of the Nile, leaving the French army stopped from its homeland. Napoleon left the military under the command of General Jean Kleber and returned to France with some of officers. Leadership of France. Landing at Fréjus, France, in October 1799, Napoleon went on to Paris, where he helped overthrow the Directory, a five-man executive body that had replaced the king. Napoleon was named first consul, or head of the government, and he received almost unlimited powers. After Austria and England ignored his necessitate peace, he led a military into Italy and defeated the Austrians within the Battle of Marengo, 1800. This brought Italy back under French control. The Treaty of Amiens in March 1802 ended the war with England for the nowadays. Napoleon also restored harmony between the Roman Christian Church and also the French government. He improved conditions within France further by, among other things, establishing the Bank of France, reorganizing education, and reforming France's system with a replacement set of laws called the Code Napoleon. By 1802 the popular Napoleon was given the position of first consul for all times, with the proper to call his replacement. In 1804 he had his title changed to emperor. War resumed after a replacement coalition was formed against France. In 1805 land destroyed French naval power within the Battle of Trafalgar. Napoleon, however, was ready to defeat Russia and Austria within the Battle of Austerlitz. In 1806 Napoleon's forces destroyed the Prussian army, after the Russians came to the help of Prussia and were defeated themselves. Tsar, 1777–1825, of Russia made peace at Tilsit in June 1807. Napoleon was now unengaged to reorganize Western and Central Europe as he pleased. After Sweden was defeated in 1808 with Russia's help, only England remained to oppose Napoleon. Napoleon was unable to invade England thanks to its superior armed service. He decided to introduce the Continental System, a blockade designed to shut all the ports of Europe to British trade. He hoped this is able to force land to form peace on French terms. In Spain in 1808 the Peninsular War broke out over Spanish opposition to the position of Napoleon's brother Joseph on the throne. English helped Spain during this battle, which kept French troops occupied until 1814. Additionally, Alexander I's decision to finish Russia's cooperation with the Continental System led Napoleon to launch an invasion of that country in 1812. Lack of supplies, atmospheric condition, and disease led to the deaths of 500,000 of Napoleon's troops. Fall from glory. Napoleon had his marriage to Josephine dissolved then. In March 1810, he married Marie-Louise, the daughter of Emperor Francis II of Austria. Despite this union, Austria declared war on him in 1813. In March 1814 Paris fell to a coalition made of Britain, Prussia, Sweden, and Austria. Napoleon stepped down in April. Louis XVIII, 1755–1824, the brother of King of France, was placed on the French throne. Napoleon was exiled to the island of Elba, but after 10 months he made plans to return to power. He landed in southern France in February 1815 with 1,050 soldiers and marched to Paris, where he reinstated himself to power. Louis XVIII fled, and Napoleon's new reign began. The opposite European powers gathered to oppose him, and Napoleon was forced to return to war. The Battle of Waterloo was over within per week. On June 18, 1815, the combined British and Prussian armies defeated Napoleon. He returned to Paris and stepped down for a second time on June 22. He had held power for exactly 100 days. Napoleon initially planned to travel to America, but he surrendered to land on July 3. He was sent into exile on the island of St. Helena within the Atlantic Ocean. There he spent his remaining years until he died of cancer on May 5, 1821.